every single movie stop or my mom will shoot.
Yeah.
Alright, so Defenders of the Realm, a cooperative game that's semi-not cooperative, if that makes sense. These are your hero cards. Ooh, show the hero cards with really lovely artwork on them. Gorgeous board. Love this game. It's like, woo.
As we all wave them around so nobody can see what they are.
Like colorful spheres on a blackboard. Good, thanks. Thanks for that. Unfortunately, because this board is so gigantic, I don't think any of our characters are really going to show except for Ian's. But that's okay because we'll be doing most of our stuff out here anyway. If you've played Pandemic, this game will remind you slightly of it as far as some of the mechanics. Not a ton, but some of the mechanics. How things populate and how quote-unquote epidemics form in this game. And then you're going to have a couple other types of cards that I'll explain as I talk about the game itself. You'll have a quest card. Everybody starts with one. Hero cards, which are how you do some of your actions. You'll get 2, but you'll get more during the game. Mm-hmm. Then we have this card, which we're not going to read what they do yet. I mean, you can, but we're going to read it to the folks watching. But this is a promo card. They're from, I don't know what it was originally released for, but Board Game Geek had them. It's like a stack of random, like, quote-unquote legends cards. Mm-hmm. And these are kind of like legends that you've been with before or how you become a more powerful hero. Mm-hmm. And so everybody will have an individual kind of additional tweak to their character.
Nice.
Sometimes it comes with weakness and sometimes it doesn't. So, because I think there's like a card where you're drunk the whole time or something. I could try to remember it, but there are some that I was like, I'm not sure that's a strength. Not quite sure that's a strength. So we start out with 2 heroes. We're going to pick one and kind of discard the other one for a period of time until we potentially, if we die, you get one of those other heroes. But we'll just put it aside for now. But we're just keep on kind of flipped up before you pick for reference when we talk about the rules. We are going to start out here in Monarch City. We're trying to protect Monarch City. We've been hired by the king to protect Monarch City from all of these evil minions. We've got...
King, I care about the queen.
Huh?
So screw the king, I care about the queen.
Yeah, your Legends card. But the king hired us, though. The queen probably
That's fine,
will
I'll take
pay
his money.
We're dealing with a dragon and her minions. We're dealing with an undead prince and his minions. Mm-hmm. We're dealing with an orc general and his minions, and a demon from hell and his minions. Because, why not? If you want, Ian, after we read the rules, if you want to read each of the backgrounds of the monsters, so that we have kind of the storytelling flavor of this game, that'd be cool. And I think I have in the rulebook here, I think I have a summary of what their powers are. But I'm going to leave you in charge of just reminding us of them as we fight the generals. When we do kind of fight them, some of them have, for example, the demon Blazgarg or whatever, but Balazarg.
Yeah, every time.
Oh, no, it's okay. There's stuff that you have to deal with when you enter combat, and then the other ones, there's stuff that happens during combat. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to leave you in charge of that, and also in charge of their health. If you notice, they each have, like, a square. Mm-hmm. That is their max health. There is, if you slide the square aside, you'll notice there is actually a health number there. That is a legit health space. Okay. And I'm also going to leave you in charge of the war status card at the top. Mm-hmm. Excuse me, that status won't change much, but it will change throughout the game, and the game will get progressively harder. Right. Every time we defeat a general, we move that up. I think there's a couple other instances where it could potentially be moved up, but it's typically moved when you defeat a general. When you defeat a general, the rest of the generals and the minions become stronger. Mm-hmm. So, cooperative games are designed to make you suffer. That's why you love them, because everyone who plays a cooperative game is somewhat of a masochist, and that's quite okay. These games are pretty fun. There are, of course, there's one way to win the game, many ways to lose. So to win the game, you must defeat all 4 generals. You do not have to defeat all of the minions, but you will want to defeat them as you can. Mm-hmm. And I'll explain why that's important in a second. They've got like cute little hoods and stuff. They're like cute little guys. Mm-hmm. And they're not even on camera. See, little minion. Cute little red one that you can barely see. And geez, I need to get out in the sun. Look at that. I practically glow in the dark. Anywho, so if we defeat all 4 generals, we win. If any of the 4 generals moves into Monarch City, we immediately lose. Okay. And they will all start heading towards Monarch City at some point as the night phases happen. Mm-hmm. There's a possibility that any one general can start moving. which really sucks. Because if you notice, they're actually fairly close to Monarch City. There's 2 generals on each side. We got the undead and the demon on the left. Dragon and the orcs pretty much hanging out in the same place almost. And they will start heading towards the center of the board. At the same time, minions are going to prop up all over the place throughout the game, because why not? Why make it easy? If a darkness spreads cards, that's what these cards are. Now, if you've played Pandemic, so you know how at the end of each of your turn you're drawing towns to see where the diseases go. Same thing here. At the end of each of our turns, we're going to start drawing 1, 2, or 3 of these. I believe we start out with 1 right now in our current war level each time, so that's 4 around. And we'll be putting minions out there. And we'll be putting more than 1 out, which is kind of fun.
Of course.
Yes. So if a darkness spreads card, you know, identifies a specific color and you don't have any more because they're all on the board, we immediately lose. Okay. That particular color of minion killed us, essentially. Yeah, if the last of these tainted crystals are on the board, we lose.
Okay.
There are only 12 of them.
Okay.
There are already 2 out on the board, I think. There's 1 here and 1 there. I'll explain how they get placed on the board in a bit. It does not take long to get a lot of those tainted out, and it's not easy to get rid of them. So be aware of that. If 5 enemy minions are in Monarch City at any time, we lose. That happened to us when I was way up at the corner. This was when Ron and Shane were having that fight, and they wouldn't cooperate, and we had 3 minions in Monarch City, and I kind of just said, hey, maybe I can't get there. I can't get there fast enough. I'm going to try. I started running for it. I'm like, maybe we should kill those guys because I don't know what's going to happen. And 2 just poof appeared, and we immediately, instantly lost. They were so mad, but it was their fault. I'm sorry. We also have, this is similar to Legendary in a way, there is possible, everybody can win or lose together, but there is also the possibility to be King's Champion. And to be King's Champion, it's like MVP in Legendary. You add all of your completed quest cards together, and any general character cards. If you are the person who gets the kill shot on a general, you get their card. There's a number of benefits to that, but it's also worth 1 victory point. Add them all together, and that person is the King's Champion. So I think they have this rule so that we will compete with each other a little bit in addition to helping each other, just to make it that much easier for the game to kill us. But that's fine, you know. And if there's a tie, there's some tiebreakers and stuff, but, you know, we'll get to that. So we're going to first determine who's first, just so that we know. 3, so not me. Wow. 18.
7. Balazar did not let it roll.
He's like, no. Alright, so Ashley will be the first player. And then there's daytime phase, evening phase, and nighttime phase for each player's turn. During the daytime phase, what you're going to do is we're going to have these health tokens. They look like... Now, granted, the players aren't really going to see these except for on Ian... the viewers aren't going to see these except for on Ian's board, but they look like this. These are pretty big for health tokens, you would think. But you start out with a certain number of them. So my character, if I were to play this Eagle Rider, would get 4 of these. Any of them that are flipped upside down on your character card, so the black face, if they look like that on your character card, at the start of your turn, you flip them over. If they're face down next to your character card, you don't. Those are lost points for now. You can heal them later, but if they're on your card, you flip them face up, because your health is also a way of determining how many actions you get a turn. So as you get injured, you have fewer actions because you're hurt. I really like that mechanic. It makes total sense. But so you're going to flip them back. So that's the first thing you do. So if they're on your character card, flip them back up and put them in the designated space. Most people put them here, and then when they flip them over, they just kind of put them up here. It's up to you how you want to do it. And then you can do a number of actions just by flipping these over. When you flip them over, it doesn't mean you're taking damage. It's just they're still on your card. It's just how you mark how many actions you're doing. And you can do any number of actions. There's a couple limits as far as certain actions being done more than once a turn. But you can pretty much do any number of actions until you run out of health. You'll never have more health. As far as I'm aware, I don't think there's any quest cards that give you a reward that gives you more health than your starting health. So usually if you look at your cards, like when you're choosing which character you want to play, that's probably going to be the most actions you'll ever have during a turn. So if I play this Hobbit, I will always only have 4 actions during a turn. If I choose the Cleric, I'm going to get 6. But maybe I want the Hobbit. You know, who knows? Now there's a number of actions. If you notice there's this like lengthy page of actions, I'm going to explain them. They're actually very simple, but if you're not sure, if you forget some of the actions you can do, there's a reference page on the back of the manual. We're going to put that over there near Beth. So if you need it, just have her pass it to you, or she can read to you what the actions are. But the first action is movement by foot. You can move into an adjacent space from where you are. So let's say I'm playing whatever that person is and I'm here. I can move to an adjacent space by flipping one of my action tokens over. If I want to move 4 spaces, I can flip 4 over. And I'll go to an adjacent space. And you follow these paths. So if you notice, the Dragon's Teeth range is technically next to the Scorpion Canyon, but it's not adjacent. There's no path. So I can follow my path. If I want to go this way, I got to go all the way around to here. So that would be 4 actions if I want to go in here. That makes sense? And so that's movement. Movement by horse is you can move up to 2 spaces by discarding a hero card with a horse symbol at the top. And the way you tell is when you look at your hero cards, I'm not going to hide these, I don't think you guys care, but there's symbols at the top. So like right here, this one has an eagle. This one's a little bit hard to see because it's black, but it's got a gate. There's symbols at the top.
That's a horse?
That is a horse, yep.
That's a horse.
So you discard that card, you just throw it away. You're going to use these hero cards for a lot of things. If you notice, there's all sorts of stuff on these cards. But essentially, you discard that card and you can move 2 spaces. And then movement by eagle is kind of the same thing that I had right here. This is an eagle card. I can discard this card to move up to 4 locations away. And remember, they always have to be connected by lines, even if you're flying for some reason. But you follow the lines. So with an eagle, you can move to 4. Makes sense? You don't have to be an eagle rider like this card says. It's just you have to have the card. You hop on an eagle and you go. Movement by magic gate is similar, but not the same. So if you notice, you throw away a card. Well, you could. The easiest way is you can discard the hero card with the magic gate icon like this one and move to the location on the card. This one says the Dark Woods, whereas somewhere black and horrible looking Dark Woods. Oh, they're way up there. So if I'm down here and I want to go to the Dark Woods, I can't because this has a gate. I can go to that location by discarding it. So it's whatever location's on the card.
So similar to travel in
Pandemic,
okay.
Just like it. There's a couple of other ways you can move with gates, but that's the simplest way. So I can go, I want to go to the Dark Woods, it's got a gate on it, bam, I'm in the Dark Woods. Or I can spend a card with a gate symbol on it to go from anywhere to a location that has a gate. So right now, right here, the Dancing Stone has a gate automatically, but we also have a number of gate tokens that we will be placing throughout the game. So let's say it looked something like that. I could go to any of those 3 locations or the Dark Woods by throwing this away. Make sense?
Yeah.
And the other thing you can do, if as far as gates, you can also move, if you're on a space with a gate, you can spend 1 action to move to any other space with a gate. So if we had 3 gates out, I could have my choice of these locations to move around. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
That is gate travel. And it only costs 1 action to do those things. I wonder who that is. Now, the other thing you can do for an action is you can use a unique skill. So if you have a special skill, it will tell you. If it says spend an action, then that's what you do. You just flip a coin over. So there are some special skills that do not require action. So you'll want to read your skills carefully. But if they do, that will cost 1 of those health tokens. You just flip it over and do the special action. You can also build a magic gate. If you're on a location, you also have a card matching that location. So if I was here and I had a card that said the Dragon's Teeth, or if I was in the Dark Woods, and I threw away that card that said the Dark Woods, I can build a magic gate. It's just like when you build the disease places, resource centers in Pandemic. Same exact thing. We have a limited number of gates. If we have all of the gate tokens out, and you still want to build a gate, like maybe a location is better, you pick another gate to destroy and just move it.
Okay.
So you can build magic gates. Excuse me. You can also spend 2 actions to get rumors at an inn, or up to 2 actions. You don't have to spend 2. You can spend 1. And there's inns around here somewhere. They've got like little symbols on them. Somewhere. What do they look like? Might be these treasure boxes.
These ones.
Oh, there we go.
This is
Yeah.
the Griffin Inn.
Thank you.
The
There should be
Inn.
3 inns, I think.
And
Yeah,
this
there's
is
the other
the
one.
Eagle Nest.
You go to that inn and you can spend up to 3 actions. 2 actions, I'm sorry, not 3.
Yeah.
And then what you do is you call it a color. So you say red, green, blue, or black. So I might go to the inn, spend 2 actions, and say black. I'm going to draw 2 cards, for a card for each action that I spent. Let me word it that way, because if you only spend 1 action, you draw 1 card. If it is that color that you called, then you get both of them.
Nice.
Or one of them. You just you
How
get to
many
keep
cards
it.
do you-
Yep. So you draw 2 cards for each action spent limited. So I'm right. It was 2 cards. I'm sorry. You draw 2 cards for each action spent listening for rumors. So if I spend 2 actions, I'm going to draw up to 4 cards. And you can do like different colors. So my first action I can be like red. My second action I can be blue. Or if I want to really have a chance of getting a number of cards, I can say I'm going to have do the 2 actions at once. I'm going to say 1 color, draw 4 cards, and just take all of that color. Make sense?
So do you take all the cards, or do you only take all the cards that match
That
the
match
That's
color?
the color that you called. You're guessing. You're basically
Right.
listening for rumors. And sometimes you could listen and nothing comes up. They just talk about their laundry. Or who's sleeping with who and you don't really care. But then you might hear something about Sapphire. And then you get that color card or something. You know what I mean? That's kind of how they like do it.
Makes sense.
Do you get purple?
Yes.
On a normal one?
I was getting to that. Yeah. Any purple card, which is kind of a special card, you keep those.
Okay.
You can also heal the land. So if you're on one of these tainted locations, I think we have 2 right now. Yep, we have 2 of them. If you're on a location with a tainted crystal, you discard a hero card that matches that location color. So if you notice, the other thing about our cards is they have locations with their that's a black card. This is a green card. It will show a location that kind of matches that color. So if I want to get rid of this one or this one, I have to have a red location, which I don't.
Okay.
So you discard. It doesn't have to be the same location. Like I can be at Scorpion Canyon and discard a Blood Flats card. It's as long as it's the right color.
Okay.
You discard that color, and then you roll 2 dice. So you don't automatically clean it. You roll 2 dice for that card. If you get a 5 or more on either, then you remove 1 tainted crystal from that location, and only 1 tainted crystal can be removed per action. So if there's 2 crystals on a location, you'd have to take 2 different actions, throw away 2 different cards, and roll 2 different times. They're really hard to get rid of. And the last thing you can do is you can heal yourself. There's a couple ways that you can heal. One way is being in Monarch City or any one of the 3 inns. If you're in there, you spend an action and you completely heal. All the wounds that you took are back. If you are in any other location, you get 2. And that location cannot have minions or generals in it. So if you're over here and you're fine, you get 2 back. And it still only costs 1 action. You can spend multiple actions if you need to heal to full if you're in one of these kind of outskirts. So don't worry about not being able to heal. So those are the basic actions. The other thing you can do is you can fight minions. So if you're on a space with some minions, you can fight them. And so what you're going to do is you're going to roll a die for each minion, and you want to roll the same color. And the reason why is if it looked like this, you're going to roll 3 dice, and they're going to be 2 reds and a blue, so you see which ones you actually damage. So maybe you don't damage the red ones, but you damage the blue. Make sense? That's why you want to try to always, if you can, roll the same color. We have multiple colored dice right over there, which will go all over the place by the time we start playing. But that's kind of how you do it. So what you do is you spend 1 action and you get to attack all of the minions. So if there's 5 minions there, you get to attack them all. And it only costs 1 action. Now, these minions require different success results in order to kill them. The blue minions who work for Sapphire are the strongest. They're the hardest ones to kill. You must roll 5s or 6s to kill each minion. The green ones, the orcs, are the weakest. So you need 3 or more to kill those minions. This isn't the generals. It's just the minions. The red, the demons, and I think also the black. Yep, the red and the black both need 4s. So they're kind of the average Joes. And that's how you know if you killed them. And for each success, you just take off one of the minions. And if you end a turn at a location that contains any minions, you suffer a wound for each minion that is there. In addition, if there are 1 or more undead minions where you are, you suffer a extra wound from fear. So if I was in this location and I had the black one there and I only killed 1 red, I would take 1 wound for the red, 1 wound for the black, plus a second wound I would be taking 3 wounds. So just be aware of that when you decide to enter a fight. Hopefully you can win. If you die, you basically lose everything. Everything gets put aside. All your successful quests get put aside. You get a new character card as long as we still have some. So you're not necessarily out of the game. That character is out of the game. So we do have a limited number of characters. It is possible for somebody to get,
Completely.
if we have a really bad day,
Right.
it's possible for somebody to get completely eliminated from the game entirely. But hopefully that won't happen. But yeah, you would lose everything, and then you start the game over with a new character in Monarch City with 2 hero cards and 1 quest.
Okay.
And then the other thing you can do is fight the general, and this is a much bigger deal. If you are on a space with a general and there are no minions. So if you're, right now, if you want to fight Sapphire, you have to spend a turn killing the minions first. Now, if you're on a space with a general, they don't automatically deal damage to you. Usually. Unless their card says so. There is possible that like they might, but they're not like minions. Minions always do damage to you. The generals do damage to you in a different way. They could also run away from you and just go to Monarch City and be like, "Go to hell! I'm gonna go kill your king." They could do that too, and they probably will. The way you attack a general is you spend 1 action, and that will activate you and any other heroes that are sharing the space with you. So it's always a good idea to move there and just kind of hang out. And wait for other people to show up. Well, I mean, talk it out so they know you want to do that. But if there are multiple heroes there during your turn, you spend the action, you activate the heroes, and you decide what order those heroes go in. So I could be on a space and be like, Beth, you go first. Because maybe I want to try to get the kill shot and get the Slayer trophy. But as long as somebody has a Slayer, it's better than nothing. So I probably won't be so focused on MVP. But that's one way of getting the MVP. But essentially what you're going to do is you're going to spend your action and then you throw down any cards that have the general's portrait. So again, hero cards, if you notice, at the bottom have a picture of the general. And it's usually the same color. So like Varkalok is the black cards and Gorgut is the green. And if you notice, there are also dice symbols on the bottom. Usually 1 or 2, most often 1. I'm pretty sure there's a couple cards that might have 3. But it's typically 1, and then sometimes 2, and then, if God loves you, 3. So what you do is you play any number of hero cards that have their portrait. You roll 1 die for each die on those cards. So if you have a bunch of cards, you throw them down. We're limited to 10 hero cards in the game, by the way. So if you ever have more than 10, you have to discard some down. And then of course, it will tell you, I think, right in in their portrait, it shows like for Vartalok, it's 4+ to do damage to him. Yeah. It's basically the same as what their minions are.
Take to kill the minions.
Yeah, it's exactly the same. And if you notice, they have a
minions are one-shot hits. And...
Yeah, these guys aren't.
Well, yeah.
So you don't necessarily want to fail because there's penalties for failing. That's how they do damage to you. So that's why it's always a good idea to go with someone else with you instead of by yourself. But essentially what you're going to do is get rid of all the minions, then you can spend 1 action to initiate the combat, play your hero cards. Before you roll any dice, you check the monsters or the general's combat skills. We'll have Ian doing that for us so we can remember what each one is. He's going to read them and see if there's anything special that we have to do or deal with. Then you're going to roll the dice. And then we'll have Ian move the wound markers for each success that you have. If you kill him, great. Then if you kill them by yourself, you just get the rewards. If you kill them with multiple heroes, what happens is whoever got the kill shot gets the villain card. You'll flip it over and become the Slayer. And everybody who participated in the fight will get 3 hero cards as a reward. The cool thing about being the Slayer is that, 1, it represents a victory point if you're going for the most valuable player. But also, if you're in the same location as the minions of the defeated general, and you have the Slayer card for that general, you wipe them out without rolling dice. You just spend an action. So if I happen to have sapphires, and I moved over here, I spend an action, they're gone. I don't have to roll crap. Nice. So it just gives you a little bit of an edge to try to... But of course, that is the balancing factor because all the other generals will become more powerful as you defeat them. And then once we do that, if we defeat one, that war status is going to go up. So that represents how they become more powerful. Right. Does that kind of make sense? Now, if you fail to defeat the general, you suffer the penalties. So each one of them has a penalty for failure, and they're not fun. None of them are fun. And then you move the hero to Monarch City. It says, his bleeding body is carried back to the king to heal and fight another day. But then the general begins to heal his wounds based on the color of the damage. So if you notice there are white boxes, there are pink boxes. Well, there's white boxes or pinkish boxes, and then red ones. They're kind of sort of color coordinated. Like his are kind of gray, his are greenish, that one's pink, and Sapphire's are blue. Here's how it works. If the wound marker is on the lighter space, it's considered a minor wound. If it's on the red space, it's considered a major wound. If you notice, Varklock never suffers major wounds. He's just minor until he dies.
He's not dead. Why would he care?
It's true. He's like, I can't bleed. But if it's on the minor wounds, if it's on the light space, you'll start healing at the end of the next player's turn. So if I fought a general and I only did some minor wounds and I go back to Monarch City, at the end of Beth's turn, it's going to start healing. Which is just fun. And they heal at a rate of 1 point at the end of each player's turn. So if I failed, and then it's the end of Beth's turn, that general's going to heal a point. Then at the end of Ian's turn, he's going to heal a point until he's back to full health. With the exception of Sapphire. When Sapphire starts healing, she goes to full health immediately, because she sucks. Dragons aren't fun. Now, if it's a major wound, you have more time before they start healing. So if it's in the red, there's a couple benefits for it being in the red. Even if you fail, you get some benefits. They won't begin healing until a full round of turns by the heroes has been completed. So in the example of me again, if I was the one who failed, at the end of my next turn, that general will start healing. Does that make sense? The other cool thing is if they have major wounds, they will not advance if a darkness spread says they're going to move to another place. They won't move anywhere because they're too hurt.
Okay.
So that's another... So it's still good. Even if you lose, it's still good to not...
It buys you at least a turn.
Yeah, try to get them into the red. If you can't win, at least try to get them into the red. And then we already talked about group attacks. Group attacks are exactly the same as single attacks when you're fighting a general. The difference is what you're going to do is you're going to lay down how many cards you want to play before... You need to commit your cards before we start fighting. So if Beth, Ian, and I were fighting Sapphire, and I say, well, I've got 2 Sapphire cards, I'm going to commit those 2, you determine what ones you're going to commit. You can't pull it up once you put it down. You can also choose, if you don't want to attack, you can just be like, here, you have my cards and you do the attack. Which means you won't necessarily suffer the penalties because you didn't technically attack. I think. Let me just make sure I'm not wrong. Nope, you're still going to take damage, so either way, you might as well do the attack. So essentially what's going to happen, the player who initiated the combat, they're going to determine which order people are going to attack. So, and you can make that decision as the attacks happen. So if you want that MVP, and Ian's the one who initiated that attack, and we're all there, he can say, okay, Sarah, you go first. And he can see, like, maybe I almost kill her. Not going to happen with Sapphire, but we'll pretend. And I almost kill her, so he's like, I'm going to go next to see if he can get the MVP, and then if he fails, Beth will be like, ha ha ha, mine. But you can choose after each person. You don't have to be like, Sarah, Beth, me, or me, Beth, Sarah, or, you pick after we roll, after you see the results and how much damage they take. And then, of course, if we win, everybody gets the 3 hero cards. And then if we lose, we all suffer the defeated penalty. Then in the evening, you draw 2 hero cards. That's the next step. After you do all the actions you can do, you draw 2 hero cards. Always get some more ammunitions. Yep. Remember, there's a 10-card limit for your hand. And then night happens. And that's when we draw 1, 2, or 3 of these awful, horrible Darkness Rises cards. Starting out with 1. The first thing you do is place minions. I'm going to draw the first one so you guys see what they do or what they look like. Hopefully it's an actual minion card. Okay, good. So in this case, we have 2 locations. There's almost always 2 locations. We put 1 blue character in the Seagull Lagoon and 1 black character in the Dancing Stone up there. So you just place them. Sometimes it might have 2 minions here or 3, and you have to put however many it tells you on the card. And so... that's the first thing you do. This may create an overrun, which can taint the land. What an overrun is if there's 4 minions on a space that are not demons, you place one of these. So if we had to place a blue one in Bounty Bay, for example, we have to now put that there. There's an overrun. They've tainted the land. Demons, the red guys, they taint the land at 3 because yay. That's why we have 2 right now. Because when I pulled the cards, you always start out here with a taint because this guy always starts with 3 minions with him. And then the luck of the draw, we got 3 more. I was like, yay, that's good. And then what you do is you look down on the bottom and see if the general advances. This one does. So it tells you, it shows you the color just in case you can't tell the symbol. It's a little bit hard with the picture. But this one's the demon. He's going to start moving towards Bounty Bay. So he's going to start going this way. And what's going to happen is they have their own kind of path towards Monarch City. So he's going to try to get there through Bounty Bay. If the general is shown... if the general shown is one space away from the location shown, then he advances. So in this case, where it says Bounty Bay, he is not one away from it, so he stays right where he is. But if I had picked Raven Forest or Blood Flats, he would
slip.
You see?
So, yeah, that makes sense. So basically, you can only move if it's an adjacent spot.
Correct, because they can only move one space. Eventually, you're going to start seeing them move, but otherwise, they would just hit Monarch City in like 3 turns.
Yeah.
And there's 4 of those guys. So it gives you time. Now, so when he advances to the new location, let's pretend this is the Raven Forest. He gains the number of minions next to his figure.
Okay.
So if he goes here, he's going to get 1 red guy.
Okay.
Looks like a dog, lizard, bird.
Well, it's funny. When I looked at him originally, I thought he was a dragon, not a demon. And
Yeah,
like,
no.
no, he's a
He
demon.
almost looks like an Egyptian god. Look, he's got like the clothes of an Egyptian guy.
Yeah.
Taurus.
I need to paint these.
He's like a half.
Anubis.
He's like a half dragon.
But he's sort of like Anubis, but it's not really. It's like a dog, but then when you look at it, it's like a dragon face.
Yeah.
Really weird. He's kind of cool looking. But basically, so that's...
He's an old bus.
So he move. The generals move alone.
Yes.
And just get a new minion.
Sometimes they don't, but usually they
But
do.
I mean, according to that.
Yeah, sometimes you'll see just the picture moving and there's no minion, but you'll
So
get
his
1,
3
2, or 3.
minions don't follow with him.
No. Minions typically don't move. They just sit there and get more and more and more and more and more and more and more.
Yeah.
They just breed because that's what
They're
they
minions. Yeah.
do. So does that kind of make sense? If you're not really sure like what to do with the cards, you can also pass it my way. But that's essentially, that's the darkness. This instruction manual wants you to die. It's so funny because it says overruns in tainted land. Yes, this is my favorite part. This land is my land. Freaky book.
Nice.
And like the other areas where it's like, if you beat Sapphire, and then in parentheses it says it won't happen.
That's awesome.
I love books that make fun of you. We already talked about the taint. But during an overrun, so when you have more than what you're supposed to have, any overrun minions that would increase the number of minions in an adjacent location. Oh, wait, overrun. Sorry, I forgot. That's like pandemic.
Yeah. So they taint the land and spread.
They do. So basically, the location becomes too destroyed for humanity to survive in that area, and the land becomes overrun and tainted. Instead of adding the 4th minion, a tainted crystal is placed at that location, and minions advance to surrounding locations. So you add 1 minion of the same color that caused the overrun, which will also be the same color on the Darkness Spreads card, to all adjacent locations. A general does not count as a minion when determining overruns. So they get... It's possible for more than 1 tainted crystal to be added to a location, and a tainted location can still be the source of an overrun. If a land has been tainted and during the place the minions or a general advances phase, the 4th minion to be added to the tainted location, another overrun occurs, and another tainted crystal is added to that location, which is why you can't remove more than 1. That's what they meant, because you can get a bunch of them. Monarch City does not cause overruns or tainting, but if 5 minions are ever in Monarch City at the same time, the city falls and we lose. Plan on it, hero. Meet your fabled city is falling to me. And then demons cause the land to taint when a 3rd demon minion is added to a location. All 3 must be red minions and not a mix of other enemy minions. And they still, because they add the taint with 3, they actually get to be there still. That's why if you notice
So
there's
if
3
this
there.
was the case, they wouldn't be tainted yet.
Correct. Nope. Wait a minute. If that was the case. But then if another black one appeared there, it would
Then
be
have
because...
the 4 minions,
yeah,
period.
because it's the color of the minions, yeah. You're right. Let me wait, actually. Yeah, it must be demons in order for the 3 thing to take effect. I guess they work together.
So what we're learning is that these 4 are actually just mini bosses, and the true villain of the game is the rulebook.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
It's using the mini bosses to take over.
Yeah. Distracting us.
Yep.
Yeah.
now the with the early war, what we do is we draw one card, and the minions are placed, and the generals advance as normal. In the mid-war, excuse me, we draw two cards. The first one, the minions are placed, and the general is moved as normal. In the second card, only the general is moved. So you don't place minions. In the late war, you draw three cards. The first two cards, you place minions and move the general as normal, and then the third card only moves the general. So it's still bad, but it's not as bad as if minions were coming out every single time you had a card.
Because you'd be overrun like crazy.
Exactly. There's also orc work activity cards, which are these green cards. And they can actually cause the orcs to multiply. They become war parties. Just follow the instructions on the card. There's an All is Quiet card that sometimes comes up. And then there's the Monarch City card. And when that card is drawn, one minion of each color that is adjacent to Monarch City is added into the city at the same time. So that's bad because you can get 4 at a time. So you don't really ever want minions ever in Monarch
Technically,
City.
technically, it is entirely possible with that card to instantly lose.
Well, yeah.
Because there's more than 5 adjacent spaces. There are 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6.
No, it's one color that's adjacent. So you basically it's these 4.
So wouldn't it mean yeah, I get it.
So what's happening is you're going to add. You don't move them. You just add a green, a red, a blue, and a black to the middle there.
Right.
Which can be brutal if you have one already. That's what happened to us. We drew Monarch City and we had one red in there already.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's one minion. And I'm like, Monarch City can happen. And they're like, it's one card, huge stack. And it happened like literally after I said that. I was just like, oh man, I knew it.
Told ya!
So basically, keep Monarch City clean.
Yeah. Oh, actually, let me see. Nope, they do move. I'm sorry. They do move. So if you keep these areas clear, it's impossible for that to happen. They don't just spawn there. I had to look at that because I'm like, wait a minute, it looks like they're moving. They do move. So right now, there would only ever be 2 minions in there, plus whatever spawned there. So keeping that kind of...
So keeping that outer area as free from minions as possible makes it less likely for Monarch City to cause a problem.
Yep, and then if that card comes out, the Hero and Darkness spread decks are reshuffled.
Okay.
Any used purple special hero cards will not be reshuffled. You don't get them back.
So basically, like the epidemic cards, really, for like the...
Except they're good.
Right.
Yeah. Well, the hero ones are almost like epidemic ones too. And that's pretty much it. I mean, does that make sense?
Yeah.
I guess I should mention the purple special hero cards. It basically looks like a regular hero card, but up here instead of like a picture, it just says special. It can be played at any time during other players' turns, your turn. Once played, they are removed from play and not shuffled back into the deck. Each of these cards is very powerful and can significantly help the heroes when used effectively. And that's about it. Oh, and then there's the quest cards. Each player is given one quest card at the start of the game and draws a new one each time you complete an old one. Or if you fail a quest. Or cannot achieve a quest because the game conditions, like maybe the general's been defeated and you can't, you're like, well, he's already dead, so I can't do that.
Right.
Excuse me. You can't discard a quest because you don't like it. You just have to either win it, or it becomes invalid because it's impossible to complete it. And then some of them will tell you to place minions on the card. If during step 3 in the night phase, there are no appropriately colored minions available from the pile beside the board, just take it from the quest card. They're still in play. It's just you're just using them to keep track of stuff. And then, as the war progresses, it's going to be harder for us to complete quests, but that's just a way to get points. And you get extra rewards, like they have hero card rewards and stuff, and I think sometimes you can heal with them, and that's about it. So I'm going to put this over here, which has the actions that we can do. You just want to keep it over on that side. Oh, that works too. Can you guys read that?
You can at least see the
You
pictures.
can put my
It's
juice
standing
bottle
up.
inside and it'll stand up better.
Yeah, that's good.
My arm is long enough. Get behind ye. That sort of works.
Yeah.
There.
looks good.
Alright, so you get to go... Well, first let's pick our characters and stuff, and then we'll figure out how much health we need and
Honor
things.
Stig.
As much as I kind of want to do the sorceress because she's got a really cool power, or play as the sorceress. I shouldn't say I want to do the sorceress. That's wrong. But I think the wizard will be more useful, so I'm gonna pass on the sorceress for now.
Alright.
Yeah. I'm sorry. If I'm in a paladin or rogue, you know I'm going with the paladin.
Yeah, of course.
I gotta do ranger in honor of Stig.
No. Although if that's the case, I should just do sorceress in honor of Daedra, and we could recreate.
What if I should do the Eagle Rider?
There's no paladin.
No,
I have
that's true.
the Eagle Rider, which has multiple attack styles. You can attack from the sky or you can attack from the ground. But he only has 4 actions, but the cleric has 6 actions, and she gets to add +1 to each die roll against undead. If ending a turn in a location with undead, move all undead to any adjacent location. May spend an action in a location with no enemy presence. Yep, we're gonna play cleric. We'll save the little guy for if the cleric dies.
Considering the powers that the wizard has, it's pretty awesome.
Alright, so you are the ranger, so you have... Is that him? Let's see. One of these. And you're playing the wizard?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, so that's Ian. He's got a cool snake staff. Oh, actually, just put him in the monarch so you can show him what he looks like.
I'm Jafar.
And then you're playing... Who are you playing?
Paladin, the guy on the horse.
Jafar meets.
She's playing this dude.
Right. Moses Far.
I'm playing...
Jaffosis?
Jaffosis?
Jaffosis.
Jaffosis. That's his name now.
I think this is the ranger, but...
Jaffosis
I
the
think
wizard.
Yeah.
But it's a chick. Is yours a girl?
No.
The
Look,
ranger's
doesn't that look like a
Dude
ranger?
with long hair, but
That looks like a
Dude
ranger,
with
but she's
long
got
hair.
boobs.
That's not
I think that might
the
be the
ranger,
rogue,
though. That's
maybe?
the rogue.
Okay, so that must be the ranger.
yeah, that's him.
And this is the cleric.
Yeah, because that's the rogue.
Okay. Because I was like, what the hell?
She's a chick with a
Why
crossbow.
does he have breastises? I don't understand.
Yeah,
You don't
things get a
know.
little weird in the realm. What are you talking about?
Alright, so do you want to... well, first let's find out what each other's powers are so we can know what we can do to help each other.
Sure.
So I want to start with Ian. Oh, wait, actually, I need to know, starting with Ashley, how many health do you need? 5?
We all do.
I need 6.
So can you go over those again? What were you saying about flipping it over?
So it's basically
That's your turns.
their life
Remember the
and
bullets?
Your turn, and your turn
Remember when we
track.
had the bullets and we had to
Okay.
flip the bullets because
You
we
flip.
turned?
You keep them on your card, but
Yep.
flip them over to show that you spent the actions. But if you take damage, they go off your card, and that you have to heal to get back.
Yep.
And
When
you're-
you heal, you cannot use those health during that turn, by the way. So the way you want to do it is place them face down when you put them back on your card. So if I heal 1 and it was over here, I just basically do that.
So you literally have them in a stack there, and then just flip, and then just put a
okay.
new stack that's flipped over when you.
Okay, so you need 5.
Yeah, we all have. You're the
So
only one of
if
us.
you
Oh,
go
yeah,
down to
that's
4 health, you only have 4 actions. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because as you get injured, it's going to be harder for you to go around
Right.
and do stuff because you're hurt.
Which is technically true of the bosses too, which is kind
Yep.
of cool.
I like how they did this mechanic. It's really interesting.
Does this remind me of Metalocalypse? I don't know, maybe it's just his hair blowing,
Right.
shadows.
He's the
So
Fabio
it's either that or the login screen for Golden
Stagio.
for Golden Sun, where it's like you don't actually see what the character looks like until you select them.
All right. So
Let's
we'll
see
start
the
with
roll.
Ashley since you're player 1. What is your abilities?
I get to have Woods Lore, add +1 to all attack rolls within a green location, and may be used against generals. Archery may attack enemy minions 1 space away as if they're in the same location.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah, it just can't be combined with Woods Lore, and it can't be used against generals. And if I start a turn in a green location, I get 1 action for that turn.
Oh, like an extra action?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Can
And
you reveal
then
these?
yep, that's your legendary. So what's your
This-
legendary?
What's really funny is because I got that and this, because if I end it on a green location, I get additional action on my next turn.
Dude.
So I should just stay in green.
I'll have to find some way to
Start
mark
and
your
end
extra
in green.
action. We'll just give you one of these extra ones. Just keep it always face down on, like, maybe on the other side of your board,
Okay.
so you can mark it easier.
Makes sense.
Alright, so I'm playing the cleric. I have Blessed Attack, which lets me add +1 to each die roll in attacks against undead and demon minions. May not be used in combat with a general, unfortunately, but still. I can turn undead. If ending a turn in a location with undead, so I don't take damage from them, I just move them to adjacent locations. And I can sanctify the land. I can spend an action in a location with no enemy minions present that is tainted to heal the land. No card required. On a roll of 5 plus remove the tainted crystal. So instead of throwing away a card,
Nice. You just do it.
I can just do it.
That's cool.
And then for my Horse Whisperer... Horse Whisperer, really? Raised on a ranch in the frontier, you learn how to ride and handle horses from the best horse whisperer in the realm. When you travel by horse, you may move 1 extra location, 3 spaces rather than 2.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I forgot to
So-
say mine's called Elf Friends.
That's friends.
So you're a cowboy cleric.
I know, right? Because you can just ride everywhere.
Yeah, because as the Paladin, my first power is Noble Steed. You may spend an action to travel on horseback without discarding a horse travel card.
Whoa!
So I can automatically just move 2 spaces every time I walk.
Oh, that would be
That's
a great
cool.
combo. Just like her card's such a good combo with hers.
And then I have Bravery, so if I'm ending a turn in a location with undead minions, I do not suffer any effects from fear.
Nice.
And I have an Aura of Righteousness, so I ignore 1 wound from minions and generals.
Ooh.
That's awesome.
That's why I took it.
That's the MVP.
And I am the Queen's Champion.
Wow.
One of the Queen's Champions. I have vowed to protect the Queen and have been initiated into the prestigious Champions of the Queen. When fighting troops on or adjacent to Monarch City, like, one of these, I add +1 to each of my dice rolled.
Ooh.
Additionally, it's kind of a weakness, but not really. Additionally, if minions move into Monarch City, I must move directly to Monarch City with my actions to defend the Queen, as long as there are minions present. So I do have to drop everything and run if somebody gets to Monarch City.
Basically,
I would probably
you'll
do the same thing anyway.
So basically, you're probably going to be the clean sweeper running around the adjacent spaces, just keeping it clear of minions.
I mean, I can ride out 2 spaces away, kill minions, and ride back.
It's true. All right, so I am the cranky old curmudgeonly wizard who hates everyone. And the reason why is because of the pairing of my legendary piece. So, wizard has teleport, so may spend an action to move 1 location each turn as if traveling by magic gate, but no card is required. So basically, I can just go wherever the hell I want.
Well, you need the gate.
Mm-hmm.
I know, yeah. You don't go to San Francisco. You have to...
They might get hit by a blow dart if they go to San Francisco. You gotta be careful.
Mm-hmm.
Drive by blow darting in San Francisco. You gotta watch out for it.
Wow.
That's true.
On the bridge.
We were talking about that earlier. I also have Fireball, so I can discard a card matching the color of the enemy minions to be attacked, and then roll my combat dice. A 2+ incinerates minions regardless of type.
Nice.
Yeah, so basically I just vaporize people. And last but not least,
Betty.
this one I think will come in very handy, is Wisdom. When drawing a Darkness Spreads card, it may be discarded, and another one drawn, but the new card must be used. Note, in the middle and late war, this skill may be used for each Darkness Spreads card drawn.
Ooh.
So basically, if we get a card that's really terrible, I can be like, nope, and then hope that the other one is not as bad. Which, again, can come in useful.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have to spend an action?
Nope, the only thing I have to spend an action for is the teleport.
Nice.
And your lone wolf?
And my lone wolf, so I am a loner, preferring to fight alone and stronger when I do so. So when fighting alone, no other hero present at the location, I add 1 die to each attack I make against minions and 2 dice against generals. When participating in a group attack, you roll 2 less dice than your cards provide.
Wow.
So if I'm with other people, I roll fewer dice, but when I'm without other people, I roll a bunch extra. So,
Wow.
yeah.
So you might want to sit like right here and let us go in, or go in first as we're getting closer.
Yeah, or basically I'll go in, like, pop off some, I'll be popping around the board just blowing people up on my own. Like, I'll be the outside guy.
You're our artillery. We call it an airstrike.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Wizard,
I'm
fireball!
Amelia Earhart's superpower.
Teleport, ping, poof, fireball.
It's even more ridiculous when I am able to do this quest. So.
I have to figure out where I'm supposed to go for this quest. Wyvern Forest, where the heck is that?